All right, we're gonna start brow mapping. I'm gonna grab this ruler. We're gonna bring it all the way up, nice and easy, coming from the middle of her nose to her cupid's bow and her lips. Making sure it's nice and even. And just setting it down on the skin and making sure it's perfect. We're gonna grab our pre-ink string here and we're just going to drop it here, making sure we are completely even. Okay, that's our center line. All right, we're going to come in here and just get our start line from our bulb. All right, same thing on the left. We want the exact same line on the left that we have on the right. So we make sure these are exactly the same. I'll get you to open up your eyes for me. I'm gonna do her arch based off her iris here. So we're gonna hit this up right about here. Alrighty. Same thing here, we're gonna go right off the corner of her nose. Some people like to go off the corner of the lip. We're gonna come up here off the corner of this nose here. We're gonna end it right about at the 7. Okay, now we're gonna come on to the left-hand side, hit those lines at the exact same points. And at that 7, perfect. Now that we have all of our vertical lines, we're just gonna peel this off. We're gonna keep that and just kind of put it to the side. We're gonna, again, work nice and clean. So even though you might be taking off some of her beautiful makeup, that's okay. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit more mapping string. Because again, if this mapping string gets too wet on the brows too, it'll just start to kind of paint on the skin, so we don't really want that. I'm going to do the bottom of the bulb and the top of the bulb. Then I'm going to do the arch line. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect these vertical lines in the middles. All right, we're gonna do the top of those arches, okay? So we're just gonna come in here, all the way up nicely to that arch, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. All right, now we have the top of our arches, beautiful. We're going to come down now from the top of that arch. So this is our intercept line here. We're just gonna pull it, tug it a bit. There we go. If it's not dark enough, make it darker. We're gonna come from here as well. Same, making sure those lines look exactly vertical. We're just gonna pop it up. There we go. So these triangles are the same. These. Everything is looking so good. So we're gonna hit the bottom now. Again, we're just gonna come from that bottom corner, this one right here. And we're just gonna pull it up and have it parallel with the current line that we have. Okay, so these two lines are parallel. And now we're just going to put a little bit of an angle on our tail and just pull back. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We've created a complete brow. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So we want these lines to be parallel. Come right through. Tug on down. I'm just gonna turn your head here so I can see. Tighten up that line a bit. So This is our lines. This is our brow map. Now what we are going to do is we're actually going to remove those lines and we're going to outline the brows and give them their shape. Make sure they're perfect. Clean off the brow string that's on our hands because it gets pretty messy and we want to work super, super clean. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off all these vertical lines so I can actually see what's going on. So once you kind of get rid of these lines, your brows really take effect. And if you think about it, brows only need like 4 lines to create arches and bulbs and where you need to go. So if you think about it that way, so again, I'm not going any much bigger than what she has. We're doing them super nice, super natural, giving her a little bit of arch. We're not going too crazy. Again, you want to accentuate your client's beauty. You don't want to make them so big or so different from her natural. You want to do what suits their face shape, and we'll go through a section about choosing brows for their face shape, okay? Whether they have a round shape, a diamond shape, different brow shapes will actually help accentuate different curves of the cheekbones or the jaw lines, and it helps to create some really beautiful brows. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my client to sit up, and I'm just going to make sure everything's sitting where they need to. 9 times out of 10, we have to just come down and correct a couple spots. So that's what we're going to do right now. Now that your client is sitting up, we're just going to make sure that they're perfect and that they're sitting where we need them to sit. So I'm just going to turn her head a little bit this way and a little bit that way. And I'm just going to measure them out and make sure they're perfect. So typically you want, again, your brow to be about 2 inches. So we're going to come here to here. And as you can tell, we are there. Her arch is sitting just out front of her iris here, so that's perfect. We're going to come in here and we're just going to make sure this brow is the exact same size, and it is, so that's perfect. I'm just going to take my string and I'm just going to make sure we're sitting exactly where we need to sit. You might need to adjust a couple things, but we're good. And making just sure everything's parallel. Our arches are sitting where they need to be, and they are. And that's really the 2 main things that you really want to check. Is if the bulbs are the same, the arches are the same, the bottom arches are the same, and just lining them up so everything looks perfect. Once everything looks perfect to you, kind of adjust where you need to. I just have to pull this front corner down just a tiny little bit here. But other than that, I think these brows are ready to get started. You can show your client and make sure she's happy with them. And once she's agreed to them, we'll get started with the procedure.